Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chithirai Selvan. I come from Curtin University, Dubai. Curtin University, Dubai is a branch campus of Curtin University in Australia. We have campuses in Malaysia, Singapore, Mauritius, Sri Lanka. We have 6 global campuses. All the locations we offer the same Australian degree. Dubai campus is a 5-star university according to Knowledge and Human Development Authority of Government of Dubai. We are also one of the top 1% universities in the world. Number 2 in the world for minerals mining engineering, top 50 for chemical engineering, top 50 for petroleum engineering. We are the largest university in the Western Australia. Today I'm going to talk about the role of higher education in accelerating, promoting sustainability. These are the topics I'm going to discuss. The climate change consequences, what's going on around the world, what is sustainable development, what is sustainability, and what are some of the important roles where education, teachers can involve in participating, accelerating sustainability. Right now, as we speak, the global mean temperature has increased 1.2 degrees Celsius approximately above the pre-industrial level. When I say pre-industrial level, it is 1850 to 1900, where there was no industrial revolution, there was no industries, no petrol, diesel. So, just to understand this, our body temperature, 36 or 37 degrees Celsius, when there is 1.2 degrees Celsius increase in our temperature, then we say we got fever. When we have fever, we can't work properly, we can't eat properly, we can't do anything. That is what has happened to the planet. The planet has got fever, and because of that, we are facing a lot of consequences. According to 2015 Paris Agreement, United Nations Paris Agreement, the United Nations have agreed to limit this temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. With the current rate of emission, we have 5 years and approximately 10 days left before the global warming hits 1.5 degrees Celsius. I'll tell you how it is calculated later. But on 22nd of July, you can see, next to 10 days, 22nd of July 2024, with the current rate of emissions, it is projected that we will have, after 22nd of July, we will have only less than 5 years left before the global warming hits 1.5 degrees Celsius. After that, climate change becomes irreversible. So, this is released last month on 2nd of June, the Climate Change Institute of University of Maine. According to them, billions of people are living in areas where temperature between 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. Our capital city, New Delhi, has endured temperature 40 degrees Celsius or above for 37 consecutive days, according to the latest report on 17th June. Last month, Saudi Arabia, hundreds of people died during the Hajj Yatra, Mecca Yatra. At least 530 Egyptians died in the last month because of the high heat waves. In India, 110 people approximately died between March 1 and June 18. In Mexico, heat waves claimed 155 lives. In the US, 100 million Americans suffered under extreme heat waves in the last month. All happened in the last month. 2023, heat stress resulted in up to 30% income loss, according to the United Nations Office for Disaster and Risk Reduction. The climate crisis could cause worldwide income to fall 19% by 2049. We have been seeing wildfire, bushfire, forest fire, all these are happening frequently. In Germany, in Pakistan, in Greek island, Australia, bushfire, all these are happening. The intensity as well as the frequency are more these days. Some are noticed, some are unnoticed. I have put only samples here. There are many instances are happening there like that. Wildfires in wet African forests have doubled in recent decades. Last year in Canada, Europe, Algeria, these places got affected. Europe used to have very cold climate, but these days the temperature is more than 40 degrees Celsius there also. Droughts are likely to increase by more than 30% between 2001 and 2030, according to United Nations Office for Disaster and Risk Reduction. We cannot ignore these reports. These are United Nations Office, more than 1,000 scientists, more than 180 nations participate in preparing these reports. It is not only affecting human beings, life on land, life underwater, animals, plants, trees, insects, all are getting affected because we 1.1 to 2 degrees Celsius increase in temperature, we come and settle in the AC air conditioned room. What about the animals? What about the insects? Microorganisms in the soil? How they will manage? All are getting disappeared. Look at this video. These are all fishes. Fishes in Vietnam. The ocean sea water temperature is low because of thousands of fishes died. And the other one is Telangana, recently last of June. I saw this news article. 10 tons of fishes found. Because of high temperature, more water will become vapor, more cloud formation, more water, more rain happening, more floods are happening. We have seen a lot of floods in the recent times. Germany, Pakistan. Pakistan flood even is very close to me because some of them, my students got affected in Dubai. Students' family got affected. So it happened in 2022, more than 1,700 people died. Flood in Kerala, flood in Chennai, flood in every parts of the world, it's happening. This one, it is, I come from, I work in Dubai, but I am from southernmost district of India, Thoothukudi district. Last December, I saw the flood. In my lifetime, I have never seen this kind of floods. See, all these pictures are from my native place. And this happened. So 1.8 billion people are at risk because of flooding, United Nations Office for Disaster and Risk Reduction. Because of high temperature, glaciers are melting. Greenland, and some parts of India, those places, glaciers are melting. Sea level is rising because of climate change. We are losing our land because of climate change. Last year, some studies show that, all research studies, it is not just like that, I'm not giving. See here, by the end of the 21st century, the sea level rise will be at least 0.3 meters above 2000 levels, if it is taking a low pathway. If it is taking an extreme pathway, 2.5 meters above sea level rise, above 2000 level. That means many parts of the world will go underwater. By 2050, Maldives will go underwater. Some parts of the Indonesia will go underwater. And the entire world map is going to be different after 2050. That's what the scientists and researchers are predicting. This is the fastest sinking city due to sea level rise, Indonesia, Jakarta. Because of that sea level rise, the capital city is going to be shifted to some other location. Greenland ice sheet is losing more ice than it gains by snowfall. Melting ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica contributed 40 millimeter sea level rise between 2003 and 2019. So melting ice means melting our future. The sea water is knocking our door. Approximately 27% of the world's population lives in coastal area, and by 2050, 33 million people from coastal area, they are going to be migrating to the land. So we are losing land already because of population. This is the picture, California. One picture, June 2022, drought. Same location. But in January 2023, heavy snowstorm. So in 6-7 months, extreme weather events happened in the same location. Number of hotter days are increasing every year. Number of cold days are decreasing every year because of climate change. These are the areas experiencing record-breaking heat in the last 10 years. IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This is the United Nations body. They conducted they released their recent report on 20th March 2023. You should visit IPCC reports. They say children born today, when they reach 30 years of age, they will be living 4 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial level, which means they will be living only between the disasters, floods, droughts, water shortage, energy shortage, material shortage. All this will happen very frequently, and the intensity also will be very high. That's what they are predicting. We cannot ignore these reports. Again, I am telling you, more than 1,000 scientists, more than 180 nations are participating in preparing these reports. So this projection, it becomes reality. Nobody can live well. That is not the place we want to live. Some of us may not be here that time, after 30 years, 40 years. But what about our children? We don't want to leave our children like this and go. IPCC report says 3.3 to 3.6 billion people live in hotspots of high vulnerability due to climate change. Last year, July was the hottest July on record. Last year, July was the hottest July. The United Nations chief, he mentioned the era of global boiling has arrived. The term global warming has gone. Now global boiling is going on. That's what the United Nations chief mentioned. Last 2023 was the hottest year on record. Last year was the hottest year on record, and 2024 will be hotter than last year, definitely. So this may be a hottest summer for us, but for our children, this will be the coldest summer. Every year the temperature is increasing. So approximately 55.5 million people are forced to flee because of climate change. These are some of the other impacts. Glaciers are melting, sea level is rising, surface temperature is increasing, extreme weather events are happening, number of hotter days are increasing, cold days are decreasing. Each and every indicator, there are impacts. For example, if the ocean heat content is increasing, fishes and other coral reefs are destroyed. We are losing the biodiversity because of climate change. This planet is not only for human beings. Life on land important, life underwater important. This is the Vedandangal's bird sanctuary. I don't know, it is in South India. This is the largest water sanctuary in India. More than 30,000 birds used to come to this place during the migratory season. This year when they came, there was no water. All of them died. If all the insects disappear from the planet, all of us will be dead in the next 3 to 4 years' time. If all the microorganisms disappear from the planet, all of us will die immediately. Because they are the foundational life. We cannot destroy the foundational life and think that we can flourish. We are in the first, let's say we are in the 4th floor, and you want to construct one more floor on top of it. If you pull out the foundational stone and construct, what will happen? That's what we are doing. 1 million species will become extinct by 2030. According to UNFAO, United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, on an average, 27,000 species are disappearing from the planet. In the last 30 years, more than 80% of the biomass insects have disappeared from the planet. Why it is happening? You know, greenhouse gas effect. These gases, methane, CO2, nitrous oxide, they go to the atmosphere, stay in the atmosphere for 50 to 200 years, creating a layer. When the sun energy, when it comes from the sun to earth, the intensity is more, wavelength is very short, they can pass through the layer and then come to the earth's surface. When they go back to the space, some of the energy reflected back to space. When they go back to space, the intensity is low, wavelength is very high, they cannot pass through the layer, the heat is getting trapped. This is what the planet is getting heated. Now, among these 4 gases, CO2, always we talk about carbon footprint, carbon dioxide emission, but there is also other greenhouse gases. We should understand nitrous oxide is 265 times more powerful, more dangerous greenhouse gas. 1 kg of nitrous oxide going to atmosphere is calculated as 265 kg of CO2 equivalent. But the amount of nitrous oxide going to the atmosphere is less when compared to CO2. That's the reason CO2 is a representative gas. Based on the cloud chemistry and cloud atmosphere, these numbers will change. For example, methane, currently 28 times more powerful, more dangerous greenhouse gas. So we should also understand the other greenhouse gases. These are the 10 topmost countries emitting more CO2. China, United States, India. India, per capita emission is less because the population is more. So all these 10 countries are collectively producing 61.6% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. Who is responsible? Who is responsible for climate change? Everybody is responsible for climate change. Since everybody is using water, energy, material, everybody is responsible for climate change. We use different kinds of materials, mobile phones, laptop, refrigerators, washing machine, cars, private jets. All these materials, where are they coming from? We are doing extracting, mining, processing, manufacturing, assembling, storing, transporting. All these stages, energy required, electricity required, and that comes from the fossil fuels. CO2 emission is happening because of burning fossil fuels. Because they are all hydrocarbon resources. Hydrogen, carbon, both are there. Carbon is reacting with oxygen, carbon dioxide is produced. This goes to the atmosphere, staying there for 50 to 200 years. 1 unit of electricity, if it comes from fossil fuel, of course this is maybe fossil fuel, approximately 1 kg of carbon dioxide is going to the atmosphere. We use LPG gas every day. 1 kg LPG gas means 3 kg CO2 emission. 1 liter of petrol or diesel, approximately 1 kg carbon dioxide emission. So every activity is attached with CO2 emission. From the entire planet, from the entire humanity, we send 1.3 million kg of carbon dioxide every single second. And the planet can absorb another 280 billion tons of carbon dioxide before the global warming hits 1.5 degrees Celsius. With that calculation, I am telling you, 5 years and 10 days left before the global warming hits 1.5 degrees Celsius. You should see what is climate clock. Climate clock is ticking. We are running out of time. So everybody is responsible for climate change. Rich person, poor person, American, Indian, everybody is responsible for climate change. Everybody should participate in climate change corrections. It is a global problem. It is not the problem of only India, one community, one country. Because the atmosphere is common to all the nations. We have political reasons, economic reasons, we have boundaries and borders between the nations, but there is no boundary in the atmosphere. A damage conducted in one part of the planet has global consequences. Therefore, everybody should participate. This is the carbon footprint, the amount of CO2 emitted by person, by country. The American 1 year CO2 emission carbon footprint is 16 tons. One American 1 year, 16 tons of carbon dioxide is emitted by one person. World average is 4.3 tons approximately. India, it is about 2.5 tons. Approximately 200 kg of carbon dioxide is emitted by an Indian in 1 month. 200 kg carbon dioxide means roughly 108,000 liters of carbon dioxide. All that goes to the atmosphere, staying there for 50 to 200 years, creating a climate change. Population is increasing. Currently, we are more than 8 billion people. 100 years before, population was 1.8 billion people. We are all nice people, but we are too many people. Population is increasing, consumption pattern is increasing. Our grandfather, grandmother, they did not have mobile phones, washing machine, refrigerator, all these sophisticated equipment. We have everything. So consumption pattern is growing, population is growing, production is growing, engineering is growing, technology is growing, everything is growing. But size of the planet is not growing, soil is not growing, water is not growing, minerals are not growing. We have finite amount of resources. See here, currently we are consuming 1.9 planets equivalent amount of resources. 90% overconsumption is going on, which is supposed to go to our future generations. 90%, we go down before, 30 years to 40 years before, when we go down underground, 1.5 kilometers or 1 kilometers down, we used to get very good quality minerals. Today, we need to go 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers down. Going down is not a simple thing. Drilling is not a simple thing. Lot of energy required, material required. Again, that energy comes from the fossil fuel. You cannot have mining activity in the center of the city. We should have a remote location, and that location, there will not be power transmission system. We should only depend on diesel generator. Therefore, CO2 emissions. If you could see the planet from the space, NASA released the latest simulation, it looks like this. Boiling, planet is boiling because of CO2 emission. I'll skip the video because I have only 30 minutes slot. So you need to have a development. We need to have enhance our comfort and conveniences, but that development should not affect our future generations without compromising the ability of future generations to meet our own demands. That's what is a sustainable development, and the end point of sustainable development is the sustainability. In sustainability, we talk about important equation. It is called IPAT equation. I is the impact, P is the population, A, affluence of the people, prosperity of the people, T is the technology. Let's say Impact always we wanted to have less environmental impact. Population, whether we like it or not, it is increasing. Affluence of the people, we wanted to enhance the affluence of the people. Therefore, if you want to have less impact, more population, more affluence, what the technology should do? By 2050, let's say an example, it is not realistic number, let's say by 2050 the population is going to be 1.5 times 2000 level. And by 2050, the affluence of the people 10.8 times 2000 level. And impact, we want to have less, 50% less impact. That means 2050, the impact is 0.5 times of 2000 level. If you substitute in this IPAT equation, we get 32.4. That means there should be 32.4 times technological advancements should be there. Then only we can satisfy other things. Water management, energy management, conservation of water, energy, pollution control technologies, waste management practices, all these are important for a sustainable future. Let us now talk about some of the important resources. Water. Water is the life-making material. If you think of water, life, we think of water. Imagine if water is not there for 2 days, then water is the only God, nothing else. Water is the only substance available in all the states of the planet. It's liquid water, solid ice, steam. To manufacture, I teach manufacturing, I do research in manufacturing. To manufacture any product, directly or indirectly, water is required. To produce a shirt, about 3,000 liters of water required. To produce a set of shoes, 10,000 liters approximately required. To produce a car, 400,000 liters of water required. To produce a single sheet of paper, 6 to 10 liters of water required. Electricity, 300 to 600 liters of water required for 1 unit of electricity. So, but can we produce water? Can we manufacture water? No, we can only desalinate, we can only purify water. In India, 1947, how much water an average Indian had? Today we have only 30% of that. By 2030, we will have only 7% of that. I'm talking about potable water. Thousands of rivers have gone dry. When I was a child, we used to take a shower in the rivers in a village and go to school. Today, those rivers have gone. My children have never seen those rivers. They're only seeing in the internet. So, even to produce food items, think about this, 125 milliliters of coffee if you drink, approximately 132 liters of water required. All research evidence is there. Right from coffee plants, extracting coffee leaves, packaging, assembling, processing, all together, all the stages together, it is 132 liters of water required. So between fruits and meat, for one person to survive only with meat for 1 year, the approximate calculation is 15,000 liters of water required. But if you go into fruit diet or vegetables, only 300 liters of water required. About 50 times more water is required for if you consume meat. So I'm not saying don't consume meat, that's to understand the water consumption. So again, if you eat fruit and vegetables, it is ecologically good. Once again, our rivers will flow. So water stewardship is required. In 2000, global water use was 3,950 kilometer cube. That much is the volume was required. Now 2030, 3,900 kilometer cube volume of water is required. Because population is growing, next resource is energy. Our lifestyle has become such a way that not even a single second goes without the use of energy. We are always connected with energy. That energy, more than 80-85% of that energy comes from the fossil fuel. Fossil fuel means hydrocarbon resources, petrol, diesel, coal, natural gas, all this. So more GDP means more CO2 emission. America GDP is more CO2 emission. Why? More industries, more manufacturing, more processing, more transportations, more infrastructure development is happening, means more CO2 emission also. So GDP is calculated without considering the finite limit of world resources. These are the hydrocarbon resources. Hydrogen is there, carbon is there, both are there. This carbon, when reacts with oxygen, CO2, it is a highly exothermic. That means a lot of energy is produced with the hydrocarbon resources. But at the same time, CO2 is also produced. So the world is looking for clean energy. Industries are looking for clean energy. UK is going to phase out petrol, diesel in 2040. UAE has a clean energy strategy. Every country, they have their own strategies. Universities have started offering clean energy courses. For example, the best university to study petroleum engineering in Australia is our university, Curtin University. You can Google it. We are top 50 in the world for petroleum engineering. But we are going to close that program. We don't want to teach anything related to petrol, diesel, and no funding is given these days for petroleum-related research. We are going to convert that program as energy transition engineering. Our Dubai campus is a plastic-free campus. So we are also top 100 in the world for sustainability. So renewable energy is clean. We have a lot of opportunities, particularly in the solar energy. The world's current power consumption is 18.3 terawatt. 1 terawatt is 1 into 10 power 12 watts. The solar energy, whether we like it or not, every day we get sun energy. 166 petawatt is available every year. And in that 30% reflected back to space, a 19% absorbed by clouds. Remaining is available. Remaining 85 petawatt is available for use, which is 4,500 times more than our world current consumption of 18.3 terawatts. 1 petawatt is 1 into 10 power 15 watts. Material, as I discussed, we use different kinds of material. You see, look at anything in the room, everything we have taken from Mother Nature. Whether it is a mic, laptop, chair, our dresses, material, gold, copper, aluminum, silver, everything we are extracting. And we have extracted more, 90% more we have already extracted. And we have to go down 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers down to get those materials. Even if we go down, we don't get a quality minerals. So we are facing a dangerous future. Plastics. When we say material, plastic also is one of the very important materials in terms of sustainability, because we produce 400 million tons of plastics every year. In that, only 10% is recycled. That means the remaining 360 million tons of plastics going to the landfill, most of them going to the ocean. What happens when it goes to ocean? It cannot be recycled, broken down into particles. These particles become microplastics. We say plastic means it is not only the plastic bags, plastic bottles, and other stuff. The microplastics, so-called microplastics, have invaded into our water, into our food, into our soil, and into our bodies. We are carrying those microplastics because of microplastics, which we cannot see those plastics. 21st century kitchen, you look at the last box, small box, microplastics, every food items indirectly, it is not directly present, but it is indirectly there in all our food items because they have invaded into our water, soil, through soil, food, through food, our bodies. We are eating 17 days approximately. Maybe a village person who is living in the natural, with only natural resources, he may be consuming less or zero. But on an average, we are eating 17 days every month, which is approximately 78,000 to 211,000 microplastic particles every year. That means 60 grams of plastics every year. These are the various number of years required for different kinds of plastics. How much time it will take to decompose. Let me skip this. Rubber bands. Rubber bands also, we are used 13 million kgs of rubber bands. Out of that, we produce about 1.53 tons of carbon dioxide because of producing rubber bands. And they cannot be recycled again like plastics. Sand, cotton. Sand is the most extracted material. Sand is the second most consumed material after water. Because population is growing, we need to have construction industries, universities, colleges. Cotton for textile industries. Sand demand is increasing, sand price is increasing every year. Air is not a resource, it is abundantly available, but the quality of air pollution is the problem. You look at the left picture, this picture is our capital city. Morning, 8:30 in the morning. Sun is also looking like a dot. So if industries are producing this much emissions, why industries are required? If we cannot breathe properly, why industries are required? Watch this video.
Decide how this story ends. This is a story about us, the indoor generation. A generation that spends 90% of its life indoors. It all started the day we left nature behind. We filled our homes with lovely things and all the stuff we wanted. Our homes became places you would never want to leave. Artificial light replaced daylight, and we built our houses so that nothing could escape. We cooked and showered, breathed and played, slept and sweated. but we had closed ourselves in to a point where nothing could get out. So when the air turned bad inside, we tried fixing it with chemicals. And we put in little artificial suns everywhere to make the darkness bearable. That's when things started to happen. Hard to notice in the beginning. Some needed help to sleep, to breathe, to not itch. Many of us even started to feel sad. So we turned on happy lamps to make the sadness go away. Then, scientists discovered that the air inside our homes is up to 5 times more polluted than the air outside.
Hello, everyone. Home is 5 times more polluted than air outside because we are in the indoor generation. See, you look at this
Joining us on this Wednesday
America
night, we begin with tens of millions of Americans facing another round of air quality alerts due to heavy smoke from those Canadian wildfires. Residents across 17 states from Iowa to New York and as far south as the Carolinas are being urged to take precautions, especially for those with underlying medical conditions. Look at these pictures. I mean, some big cities are issuing warnings for people to limit their time outdoors or wear masks to minimize potential health risks. Elsewhere, brutal heat is bearing down on more than a dozen states across the South. Today, about 76 million Americans experienced feels-like temperatures above 100 degrees. And in Texas, the extreme heat is causing roads to buckle. At least 13 people have died. All this comes as long lines at U.S. airports are finally starting to move again following days of travel nightmares caused by severe weather. We have team coverage tonight. CBS's Adriana Diaz will start us off from the...
Let me skip, I have shortage of time. This is a very important resource, soil resource. Our soil is becoming sand. When we take away organic content, nutrient content in the soil, then we call that as sand. If we go into rainforest, the organic content is about 70%. In normal agriculture soil, the organic content should be at least 3%. To call soil as a soil according to United Nations, we need to have at least 2% organic content. But for example, in India, more than 60% of India's soil, the organic content is only 0.5% or less than that. We are on the verge of desertification. Sea level is rising, we are losing land, we are converting agricultural land into residential buildings, universities, colleges, industries. So all in all, the land available for food production is reducing. Some studies show that in 2045, we will be producing 45% less food. When there is a shortage of food on the ground, there could be number of civil wars around the planet. According to World Meteorological Organization, 5 billion people will not have access to clean water by 2050. So if water and food are not there, what are we going to do? Is it not an important problem? Please talk to your students, talk to your children, and let them understand because they are the very important stakeholders of the future. We may be here for next 30, 40 years, but they are going to live longer on this planet. If they don't understand, if children don't understand it is a problem, let them not eat food for one day. Let them not drink water for one day. Second day, they will understand this is the serious problem. If there is a shortage on food on the ground, whatever civilization we have built for 500, 200,000 years, everything will break down when there is a shortage of food. This is the reality that has happened many times in our history. And once again, it is predicted that this is going to be repeated by the top researchers. And when when the soil is not rich, what we do? We are pumping poison into our soil. Chemical fertilizers, pesticides. And because of the applications, nitrous oxide will be emitted, which is more dangerous, more powerful greenhouse gas, as we discussed 265 times. So our engineering, artificial intelligence we are doing, with the artificial intelligence machines, we can apply these chemical fertilizers, pesticides. That's what we have started on research. Because right now what's going on, mass application of fertilizers going on. Whether it is required or not required, we are applying. So with the artificial machines, AI machines, we can apply these chemicals in a doctored manner. When we, like for human being, when we go to doctor, particular vitamin is not there, we would take only that particular vitamin. We don't take all the available medicines. So with the artificial machines, they should be working by themselves and go where it is required, how much required, what kind of fertilizer is required, and that will make a big difference in the agriculture field. Soil is the habitat upon which zillions of lives thrive. Because of the thriving life, we get food, we get water, we grow plants, trees. In Tamil language, we call soil mother soil. Because we cannot live with an inert mother. We cannot live with a dead mother. We should consider soil as a living system. It is not an inert system. If you take a handful of soil, 5 to 7 billion microorganisms supposed to be there. If it is a healthy soil, more than 8 billion microorganisms, which is more than the human population, one handful of soil. So soil is very, very important. We need to consider that as a living soil. And soil degradation is going on. We heard of dinosaurs going extinct. This is a soil extinction. In the last 30 years, more than 80% of the biomass insects have disappeared. And if soil is fixed, soil is the largest water soak on the planet. So if soil is fixed, water is fixed. If soil is a very significant carbon sink, because for photosynthesis, for plants, trees to grow, CO2 is very much required here, not there. So all the CO2 will come down instead of going upward. So climate change could be reversed. If soil is rich, trees, plants will grow, air pollution is fixed. If soil is rich, food production will happen locally, no need to import, export food. We can save transportation, energy is fixed. If soil is rich, food production will happen locally. We need not have plastics for packaging, no need to store, no need to add chemical preservatives. Health issues are fixed. So if soil is fixed, biodiversity will also be fixed. If soil is fixed, we can fix everything else. This is the legacy we have received from our previous generations, and we have to pass it on as living soil to our future generations. Why in a sustainability conference we are talking about soil? This is very much important. We can, engineers, educators can play a big role on mitigating these things. You might have heard COP28, Conference of the Parties, happened in Dubai last year. 28 meetings happened so far, United Nations meetings happened, 28 meetings happened, but the climate change is not stopping, it only accelerating. In the COP28 last year, one of the events by UNCCD, United Nations Convention to Combat Climate Desertification. The name of the event in the climate change conference, name of the event is Soil the Superstar. In the climate change conference, soil became the superstar. At least the narrative is changing, but the action has to happen. So wherever we live, 1/3 of the land should go under vegetation. That's what researchers and scientists are saying. Whatever kind, natural grasses, plants, trees, whatever, all this will help for ecological activities. Even if you are living in an apartment, a pot full of soil, grow plants and trees. How to enhance organic content there, we should look at it. It will not make a big difference in the world, but it will show that we are committed. Our commitment will make a difference for our children and others. This is
living systems have been around for a few billion.
We have shortage of time. What is this linear economy? In the circular economy, whatever we produce, we manufacture, we design, we use, we throw it away. It is a linear. In the end of life products, we give a new life, bringing back to the starting stage. That's what is a circular economy. So recycling, remanufacturing, redesigning, reusing, refurbishment, all this will help for circular economy. For example, I'm giving an example. Let's say a mobile phone. We use mobile phone, let us say, we say 6 months or 1 year, we throw it away. That goes to the landfill. It occupies the land. We are losing land there. And when you don't have a mobile phone, you will buy another one. Another mobile phone buying means extraction, processing, manufacturing, extraction of so much of materials. And then manufacturing, all these stages, energy required. So we are losing land there also. Instead of that, if you are using your mobile phone for many years, we are doing something good for, it is not that we don't have money to buy a mobile phone, or we cannot afford to buy a new one. It is a nature. Nature cannot produce a new one. We are talking about that. So whatever products we use it for a long time. That's what we need to nurture our children and students. They should know that it is all precious things. Waste management, let me skip this. 5.3 billion mobile phones will become waste per year. This was the last year data. It will be more this year. Look at this video. We use too many things. instead of using, let me explain later. The world has enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. Let me skip this. Again, I can share this presentation later. I'm also available in LinkedIn. You can connect with me. Wild animals like bear and elephants eating from garbage piles. That recently I read some news article. Very shocking news. So wasting food itself is a saving food. So we need to be very careful.
In Singapore, there is no trash. Every day, over 2,400 trucks collect.
Let me explain this. Singapore, there was a problem with trash before, once upon a time. Now they have 4 waste to energy plants. So all the wastes are being converted into energy. So that's a place our future engineers, future scientists, future leaders will be working. This is the industrial synergies, industrial symbiosis model. Located in Western Australia, close to our university campus. I happened to visit this place last year. There are 8 industries, and there are 106 interaction between these industries. Each and every box is an industry, each and every line is an interaction. Waste of one industry is going to the nearby industry as a raw material. Waste of coal power plant, for example, the waste ash is going to the nearby industry as a construction material. Waste water is purified in the next plant. Energy produced next plant. No importing raw material from the different countries. So there we can avoid energy, power, everything, etc. So this is the model future leaders will be working. So I'm going to close this. So population is a big elephant in the room. That's a major problem. Let's not talk about it. How the world will become tomorrow is determined by how we nurture our future generations, our children. Because they are the important future stakeholders. Positive change begins with awareness. Creating awareness is very important. Awareness empowers people to act. It is all in the hands of academic institutions. It is all in the hands of industries, education leaders. Creating awareness is the first step. First step in the right direction is the most important step. As future scientists, future leaders, future politicians, future engineers, their energy is what will make a difference. So if you love our future generation, if you love our children and their children, we need to act very quickly. Scientists say in the next 10, 15 years are very important. We need to consider those years as emergency period. When we are in emergency, we do everything possible. If you do the right things in the next 10, 15 years, we can fix everything. But if you allow this to progress like this for another 15 years, the damage will be irreversible. That much loss of biodiversity would have happened that time. So we cannot fix it yesterday, but we all can make tomorrow better. I have put some conservation practices, but we don't have time. Let me close this. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I'm available here. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening.